been a while since I did one of these videos, eh? This is going to be a general video to kind of talk about my thoughts on the most recent stuff that's been happening with Vanguard since my last few videos, as well as the future of Vanguard, because we kind of know what's going to be happening with that. First off, I've not watched any episodes of the anime recently at all. Like, in the last at least 2 or 3 months, I just haven't watched any. And that's because reading the manga is the worst thing that could have possibly happened to me. Because now I know what happens in the Deleters arc, so I have no reason to watch. You know, I already didn't really like the V-series that much anyway, and now I already know what happens. And so whilst I will get to it later on, I have no reason to watch now. I keep meaning to, but then I'm like, nah, I've got more important stuff to do. I've got JoJo to watch. Of course, though, I do already know what happens, and for anyone that wants my opinions on the stuff that do happen, very quickly, this will probably become its own video later on, once I have actually watched it. I'm going to try to be a little vague, little vague, because I don't know what's actually happened in the anime yet, and what hasn't. But Aichi turning, getting deleted, that's absolutely happened by now, right? That's by far the one, like, solitary, interesting idea that this reboot has had. I mean, it's in the manga, but you know what I mean? It's the one single idea they have. It's done decently well. I wish they would have fleshed it out and did more stuff with it, but it's kind of cool, having that sort of flipped on its head. You know, I really like how Vanguard handles character interactions and stuff and character dynamics, and you know, Vanguard does that a lot where it takes a character dynamic and it flips it on its head, and this is just another example of that. So not the worst, but definitely not the best either. It's alright. I've seen people hate on that plot point, I think, actually going, oh, I don't like Evil Aichi. I'm like, okay, that's the point. You're not supposed to like him. He's evil. Yeah, Koji Ibuki solely exists for a twist that happens right at the end with Deleter Aichi. Anyone that knows what happens knows what happens. But that twist is kind of clever. I'll give him that credit. When I read that in the manga, I was like, I did kind of see it coming, but it's a clever twist. And it's also why the beginning of this arc is so weird at explaining exactly what it is that Koji does with the deleters. Like, it kind of serves your connection to Vanguard and stuff, but kind of weird. But once you get to the end with Koji and Aichi, it all kind of clicks into place and makes sense. It's really good, actually. As far as the rest of the arc goes, it plays out like a weaker version of Link Joker, really. It's not awful, it's not great, it's kind of rushed, but it does what it does, and it does it fairly well. Definitely an improvement over the AL4 arc, and now that I've read the manga, the AL4 arc isn't much better in the manga. It's, again, most of the problems the reboot has come from the idea that it is, you know, adapting the manga, which segues us flawlessly into the next story arc, the Vanguard Koshien arc, because it won't be adapting the manga. The Vanguard Koshien is only in the last chapter of the manga and nothing else, whereas here it's going to be stretched out into an entire arc, which kind of gives them free reign to do whatever it is they want. And if we look at the new poster, minor spoilers, but it's in the Link Joker in the original, so if you've seen the original, you already kind of know about this. They're doing the whole Ultra Rare gets their mind erased thing again, which, yes, is how the manga ends. And as we can see in the poster, Misaki has Korin's hairband or whatever on her wrist, just like in Legion Mate. So basically, this is going to be our version of Legion Mate, except, of course, without the big Legion Mate twist, which everyone already knows about. Everyone knows about the Legion Mate twist. That thing happened in 2012. But I'm not going to mention it just in case you're starting with the reboot for some reason. And that's interesting. We're taking away the big Legion Mate twist and replacing it with a tournament. And I'm very interested to see what they do with Ultra Rare because of that. Because I was expecting the whole, you know, erase their memory thing to be the reboot's version of just writing them out of the show now that the Deleters arc is done. But again, Korin's really prominent on the poster, which means Ultra Rare will be important again. So that's interesting. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what they do with that, because here we go. This is it, yeah? This is my main problem with the reboot. I already kind of knew what was going to happen. Like, when it started, I was like, there's going to be, you know, a few episodes where Aichi learns how to play the game and everything, which he does. And then at some point, the Foo Fighters are going to come in and be evil and epic and menacing. And they did, even worse than I thought they were going to. And I was like, there's going to be the Asia Circuit, which they kind of had, but kind of not. And then I was like, oh, and then we're going to have like Link Joker again, basically. And yes, the Deleted arc was basically just Link Joker again. And so I kind of didn't like that it was so predictable because, well, yeah, I've already kind of seen this. I've already seen a better version of this, in fact. And now I've read a better version of this as well because I actually like the manga more than I like the reboot. For reasons we'll get into at a later date. But now I kind of don't really know what's going on, you know? Like, we're going to have a tournament because that's the name of the arc. And we're going to have Koshien with her memories gone. But other than that, I don't really know what's going to happen. And that's cool, you know? Like, I'm interested to see what happens. Are we going to get a new villain, new characters? You know, we're finally going to get that G crossover. Okay, for anyone that doesn't know, I'm calling it now. Whether on, like, even if we don't get a G reboot, which we won't get a G reboot, but we're gonna get some kind of G cameo or something. Like, even if it's in one of the final episodes, we'll just see like baby Chrono running around or something. I don't know why, I just feel like Bushiroad have been nostalgia pandering so much that they won't be able to help it, you know? They won't be able to help themselves from nostalgia pandering further. Sure, I would have preferred if the reboot ended when we caught up with the manga, since, you know, that was kind of the point of the reboot, to reset the card game with the imaginary gifts and everything. But also, you know, to adapt the manga. And so this could be good and this could be bad, right? Because it means we got a lot more freedom. We're finally taking off the shackles. We can kind of do what we want here. We're not being held down by source material. Which means, you know, if that was such a big problem in the first place, then why even adapt the manga? Because, again, reading the manga has made has only reinforced my opinion on the whole they shouldn't have adapted the manga thing, right? Because now that I've read the manga, and this was my fault before I even read it anyway, the manga already exists. And if I want the story of the manga, I can read the manga, which I have. And so the V-series is kind of pointless. And I know the argument's been made that not everyone's going to read the manga, and my point is, well, if not everyone's going to read the manga, then they just miss out on the manga. As someone, and if you're someone who is already familiar with Vanguard but still hasn't watched the reboot itself for one reason or another, I would actually recommend you track down the manga and read the manga, and then once you're done with the manga, move over to the new arc of the V-series instead. Because again, I like the manga more. The manga's a quicker read than the anime is a watch, so you're saving time. And I like the artwork in the manga and stuff, which apparently is a divisive opinion, but I quite like the art in the manga. Yeah, I'm super interested to see what they do in this new arc, though. And the reason I say it could be a bad thing, because people are probably asking, hey, why is this new arc a bad thing? Well, first of all, we're still in the reboot, so, you know, I'm kind of over the reboot by now. Can we please hurry things up a bit and get into something a bit more original? And also, the V-series has already had a non-manga arc. If you remember, all the way near the beginning, we had the NWO arc, which was a very short 4 or 5 episode long arc, but it was an arc that wasn't in the manga, and it wasn't great. Okay, so the NWO arc isn't awful, it's not bad, but I feel like even the people that love the reboot can admit that the NWO arc is just kind of there. It's there as a way of having Team Q4, and that's about it, really. It doesn't do anything too new or interesting other than bring back everyone's favorite character, Nagisa. And so I kind of worry that this new arc could be on a similar caliber to that, but even longer, hell, up to 10 times the length. Because, good news, we've got the V-series for another full year. At least. We could be going for 3 or 4 if we really wanted, which is a shame, but yeah, anyway, so far that's kind of my thoughts on the current state of the V-series and manga and the new arc and everything. I'll obviously talk about the new arc some more as we get closer to it and as we get more information revealed and everything. But as far as I'm aware right now, that's basically everything we have to go off of. The only thing we really know about the new arc is Ultra Rad's memory being wiped because that happens at the end of the manga, as well as it being a tournament, because, yeah. And it is cool that we're getting a tournament, right? Because tournaments are kind of mocked a lot of time by card game anime fans, because it seems like such a lazy thing. Hell, even in shonen anime, just tournaments in general, there's such an easy way of framing a story, because it's like, oh, we don't know what to do for this arc. Have a tournament, have them fight a villain at the end of the tournament, whatever. But the thing is, tournaments can be done really, really well. It just depends on how much effort you put in, just like any other story. And I'm kind of excited to see the V-series get a proper tournament. I mean, again, we did get the Team Q4 versus NWO, That wasn't really a tournament though. And other than that, yeah, we got like glimpses of the Asia circuit, but we never got like a proper tournament in the V series or the manga. So I'm looking forward to seeing us get one. You know, my biggest hope for this next arc of the V series is that it plays out in a similar way to G Next, because G Next had a really nice tournament and I really liked the way it kind of paced it and spread it out and everything, and it actually took time to focus on the characters and everything. And that's another problem with the reboot so far too, because of the fact that it's a manga adaptation and because the manga goes at such a breakneck speed, which works for a manga, but it doesn't work so well for an anime. And so it would work to kind of have things slowed down just for a little bit, just some breathing room, please. You know, just some small episodes that focus on full card fights. That's an argument I'm never gonna let go of. But yeah, no, I'm moderately looking forward to it. I've decided that for now, until we see any massive improvement in quality, I'm not gonna get excited per se. But you know, we've got another year worth of reboot, whether I like it or not, so I may as well try to enjoy it. And yeah, it looks okay. We'll see. It's kind of too early to say. Just to mention a couple other things. We're also getting a game for the Switch and the PS4. People have already heard of that though. I was going to do an entire video about that, but I slacked off as usual. I don't have high hopes for it because I don't think it's going to get localized, personally. I know it would be kind of stupid to announce a game like that and not have it be localized, but I don't know. Bushiroad kind of shaky, you know. I don't know if they will localize it. If they do, great. If they do, and the second they announce a localization, I will do a full video where I kind of talk about the game and how excited I am for it, because the new game looks basically exactly like what I would have wanted from Vanguard, so that's cool. But I don't expect it to come anytime soon, and even if it does, I don't expect an English version. So yeah, that's all the news, mainly the Koshien arc, but also some other miscellaneous thoughts here and there too. Yeah,